The sun was high in the sky, beating down on the barren wasteland that had once been the home of a thriving society. The land was a scorched, desolate ruin, nothing but rubble and dust for miles in all directions. But one sight stood out amongst the devastation, a towering bunker, still intact amidst the destruction. The Brotherhood of Steel had heard rumors of the bunker and its mysterious occupant, the Vault-Tec Corporation. It was said that the vault was full of advanced technology, and the Brotherhood had sent a group of knights to investigate and gain access to the vault. But when the knights arrived, they found that the bunker was heavily fortified with advanced technology, far beyond their understanding. The knights were unable to crack the codes and disable the defenses. The knights sent a distress call to the Brotherhood and asked for help. The Brotherhood dispatched a team of scribes to investigate and unlock the bunker's secrets. The scribes arrived at the bunker and began their investigation. The knights were unable to enter the bunker, so the scribes had to travel into the ruins of the bunker alone. After hours of searching, the scribes found that some areas of the bunker were still undamaged. They quickly realized that the bunker was a Vault-Tec facility. The scribes worked tirelessly to decipher the codes and unlock the bunker's secrets. After days of work, the scribes finally cracked the codes and disabled the bunker's defenses. The scribes entered the bunker and explored its depths. Inside, they found a vast array of advanced technology and weaponry. The scribes quickly realized that this was a Vault-Tec facility, and that the Brotherhood had finally found a source of advanced technology. The scribes reported their findings back to the Brotherhood, and the knights prepared to enter the vault and claim its secrets. The scribes had succeeded in their mission, and unlocked the vault's secrets. The Brotherhood of Steel had finally gained access to the advanced technology of the Vault-Tec Corporation, and the knights were eager to make use of it. The knights took control of the bunker and began to use its resources to strengthen the Brotherhood. The scribes returned to the Brotherhood's headquarters, where they were praised for their efforts. The scribes had risked their lives to unlock the secrets of the Vault-Tec bunker, and the Brotherhood was forever in their debt. The Brotherhood of Steel had gained access to a source of advanced technology that would help them protect and serve the Commonwealth. The knights and the scribes had worked together to unlock the secrets of the vault, and the Brotherhood was now stronger than ever. The tale of the Minutemen began shortly after the Great Fallout. The world was in shambles, the survivors scattered and the cities empty and desolate. It had been less than a year since the bombs had dropped and the world had changed drastically. The survivors, who had managed to make it through the initial blast, were few and far between. Most of them had been able to make it to the safety of the small towns and villages that dotted the countryside. But even those locations were not safe. The radiation and other fallout from the bombs had seeped into the soil and the water supply, making it difficult, if not impossible, to sustain life. It was in this environment that the Minutemen were born. A group of survivors who had banded together to protect each other from the dangers of the outside world. These brave souls decided to take matters into their own hands and protect their own. The first task was to build a place of safety. The Minutemen chose a large, ancient castle that stood atop a hill. It had been abandoned years before, but the walls were still standing, and it offered a safe refuge from the outside world. The Minutemen quickly set to work making the castle their own. They cleared the debris, repaired the walls, and fortified the castle with what little they had. It was a daunting task, but the Minutemen persevered and soon had the castle standing tall and strong. With a fortified base of operations, the Minutemen could now begin to rebuild their lives. The Minutemen began to gather resources from the surrounding area, scavenging what they could and trading with other survivors. They also began to construct small homes and buildings around the castle, which would serve as their base of operations. Slowly but surely, the Minutemen began to create a small community. They worked hard to make the castle and its surrounding area a place of safety and security. The Minutemen established laws and regulations to keep the peace and defended their new home against any threats that came their way. Soon, the Minutemen had created a small, but thriving community. They had accomplished what many thought impossible and had created a safe place to call home. The Minutemen had taken the ruins of the world and had built a new home for themselves. The Minutemen continued to rebuild and expand their community, and as time passed they began to create a better life for themselves. They established trade routes and welcomed new survivors into their community. They even made contact with other communities and were able to share resources and knowledge. The Minutemen had done the impossible. They had taken the ruins of the world and had created a new life for themselves. They had persevered and had created a new home. A home that would be passed down to future generations and serve as a reminder of the courage and strength of the Minutemen. The fallout. The railroad had been a hot topic of conversation in the small town of Haven for some time now. It had been a few years since the old train tracks had been laid, but the townspeople had been cautious and suspicious of the new transportation system that had come to their sleepy town. It had been the talk of the town for weeks, but no one had any answers as to why it had come to Haven. That all changed when the Institute came to town. The Institute was an organization that had been around for centuries, and it had been known to deal in some shady business. It wasn't long before the townspeople found out that the Institute was using the railroad to transport people to and from the town, and they were not happy about it. Haven had always been a peaceful place, and the townspeople did not want strangers coming in and disrupting their way of life. The mayor of Haven, John Smith, called a meeting with the Institute to discuss the situation. He demanded that the Institute stop using the railroad to transport people to and from the town, and to never use the railroad in Haven again. The Institute refused to comply with the mayor's demands, and the townspeople began to worry. The Institute had a reputation for being ruthless, and the townspeople feared that they would not back down without a fight. That's when the railroad stepped in. The railroad had been watching the situation in Haven with great interest. It had been a few weeks since the Institute had come to town, and the railroad had seen enough. The railroad had been around for many years, and it had seen its fair share of shady business, but this was different. The railroad decided to intervene. It sent a team of its own to Haven and had a long discussion with the Institute. The railroad refused to let the Institute take any more people from Haven, and it demanded that the Institute leave the town immediately. The Institute was not happy about the decision, but it had no choice. It had to comply with the railroad's demands. The Institute left Haven that day, and the townspeople breathed a collective sigh of relief. But the railroad wasn't done yet. The railroad had been watching the Institute's activities with great interest, and it had noticed something. The Institute had been using the railroad to transport something else, synths. The railroad had seen how the Institute had been using the synths for its own ill-gotten gains, and it had decided to intervene. The railroad sent another team to Haven to free the synths from the Institute's control. The railroad's team worked quickly and efficiently, and within a few hours, all of the synths had been freed from the Institute's control. The townspeople cheered as the synths were reunited with their families, and the railroad was hailed as a hero. The fallout from the Institute's actions had been immense, but the railroad had stepped in and saved the day. The townspeople of Haven were grateful to the railroad, and from that day forward, they viewed the railroad as a trusted friend. The railroad had done its part to protect the people of Haven, and it had earned their trust and admiration. The railroad had saved Haven from the Institute's clutches, and it had freed the synths from their captivity. The people of Haven had endured the fallout, and they had come out the other side, stronger than ever. The railroad had played a major role in Haven's survival, and it had earned its place in the town's history. The sun shone down on the cracked and broken wasteland. Everywhere the eye could see, all that remained of the world was destruction and despair. Yet, despite all that, there was still hope. Hope that one day, the world could be made right again, and the people could be free of the fear and destruction. That hope rested in the hands of a mysterious figure. A figure that walked the wastelands, clad in a suit of armor, and carrying a mysterious weapon. He was known as the Hero of the Wastes. The Hero of the Wastes was a symbol of hope in a world where there was none. He had been seen around the wasteland, helping those in need and fighting off the forces of evil. It was said that wherever he went, the land seemed to heal, and the people seemed to gain the strength to carry on. The people of the wastelands had heard stories of the hero and his deeds, but they had never seen him in person. Until one day, a group of raiders attacked a small settlement near the edge of the wastelands. The raiders were looking for supplies and were more than ready to take whatever they could find. The people of the settlement were scared and desperate. They didn't know what to do, and they didn't know who could help them. That was when they heard a voice from the sky. "Do not fear," the voice said. "The Hero of the Wastes is here to save you." The people of the settlement looked up to see a figure in armor descending from the sky. He was armed with a strange weapon, and his eyes glowed with a fiery determination. He had come to save them. The Hero of the Wastes quickly dispatched the raiders, sending them fleeing back into the wastes. He then turned to the people of the settlement and told them that they were safe now. He had come to help, and he would protect them from any threat that tried to hurt them. The people of the settlement were in awe. They had never seen anyone like this before. He was a symbol of hope in a world of despair. He was the Hero of the Wastes. From then on, the Hero of the Wastes was seen more and more around the wasteland. He was always ready to help those in need and fight off those who would bring harm. He became a symbol of justice and hope in a world that had none. People began to look to him as an example of what could be done and what could be achieved. The hero of the wastes had become a legend in the wasteland. Everyone knew his name, and everyone told stories of his heroic deeds. He was the symbol of hope in a world of despair. But then one day, the hero of the wastes disappeared. He was gone from the wasteland, and nobody knew why. People searched for him, but he was nowhere to be found. It was then that a new figure appeared in the wasteland. He was dressed in the same armor, and carried the same weapon as the hero of the wastes. He was a man with a mission. He was determined to find the hero of the wastes and bring him back. He traveled the wasteland, searching for any clues that could lead him to the hero. He asked everyone he met if they had seen the hero, but nobody seemed to know where he was. Finally, after months of searching, he found a clue. He followed it to an old abandoned bunker in the middle of the wasteland. Inside, he found the hero of the wastes. He was badly injured and on the verge of death. The man quickly took the hero to a nearby settlement and called for help. The people of the settlement rushed to the hero's aid and brought him back to health. Once the hero was healed, the man explained why he had come looking for him. He told the hero that he wanted to join him in his mission. He wanted to help make the world a better place, and he wanted to fight alongside the hero of the wastes. The hero of the wastes accepted the man's offer, and the two became a team. Together, they traveled the wasteland, helping those in need and fighting off the forces of evil. Together, they were a symbol of hope in a world of despair. The man and the hero of the wastes became legendary. Everywhere they went, people told stories of their heroic deeds. They had become a symbol of hope in a world that had none. The man had found his calling. He had found his purpose in life. He had found a way to make the world a better place. And he had found a friend. The hero of the wastes and the man were now a team, and they were determined to bring peace and justice to the wasteland. No matter what the odds, they were determined to make the world a better place. The sun was shining brightly, but a chill hung in the air. It was a day like any other in the Fallout universe. The sky was a hazy mix of smoke and dust, and the desolation of the landscape was a reminder of the vast destruction that had been wrought upon the world. But amidst the destruction, a figure strode forth, a silhouette of hope in the darkness of the post-apocalyptic world. He was dressed in a grey fedora, a dark trench coat, a silver scarf, and a lapel with a silver Tommy gun. He was the Silver Shroud, a hero of legend who had come to save the people of the wasteland from the tyranny of the raiders and mutants that had taken control of the world. The Silver Shroud had come to deal with a problem. The raiders had become a powerful force in the world, and their reign of terror had driven many of the people of the wasteland into hiding. They had taken control of the wasteland, and were now using violence and fear to keep the people of the wasteland in check. But the Silver Shroud was determined to put a stop to the raiders' tyranny. He had come to the wasteland to bring justice to those who had suffered under the raiders' rule. The Silver Shroud was a mysterious figure, and his true identity was a mystery. He had no known origin, and his true motives were unknown. He was simply a force of good in the world, a hero who was willing to risk his life to protect the innocent and bring justice to the wicked. He had set out on his mission to bring an end to the raiders' reign of terror, and his first target was a small town that had been taken over by the raiders. He had come to the town to face the raiders and restore order. The Silver Shroud entered the town with his weapons at the ready. He marched through the streets, drawing the attention of the raiders. They had heard of the Silver Shroud and his mission, and were determined to stop him. The Silver Shroud faced off against the raiders in a fierce battle. He fought with skill and courage, and soon the raiders were defeated. The citizens of the town rejoiced at the victory of the Silver Shroud, and the raiders' reign of terror had come to an end. But the Silver Shroud's mission was far from over. He had come to the wastelands to bring justice to the people, and he was determined to do just that. He set out in search of more raiders to bring to justice, and soon he had a long list of villains that he needed to deal with. He set out on his mission, traveling from town to town, facing off against the raiders and mutants that had taken control of the world. Everywhere he went, the Silver Shroud brought justice to the people of the wasteland. He became a symbol of hope, and soon his legend spread throughout the wastelands. The Silver Shroud's mission was a success, and soon the people of the wastelands were free from the tyranny of the raiders. The Silver Shroud had become a true hero of the wastelands, and he was celebrated by the people of the wasteland. The Silver Shroud's legend lives on today in the stories of the wasteland, and he remains an inspiration to those who fight for justice. He is a reminder that even in a world of destruction, there is still hope. The Silver Shroud will always be remembered as a hero of the wastelands.